the significance of cybersecurity cannot be overstated. Today, myself, Riya Vengurlikar from BTech CE second year,
And myself Yuksha from BTech CS second year.
are honored to have Ms. Shravani Bhoir, a passionate cybersecurity enthusiast and TED speaker, to shed light of the complexity of digital security.
Miss Boyle, currently pursuing a BTech in computer science, extends her expertise beyond academics. With an ISO certification, she actively organizes cybersecurity events and discussions, emphasizing the importance of awareness. So, join us in welcoming her as she shares insights that bridge the gap between curiosity and cybersecurity expertise.
Thank you so much for
So
the
let us
warm
start with
introduction.
today's first question.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Good morning.
Yes.
So let us start with our today's questions.
Thank-
How are you doing on this wonderful Saturday morning?
I'm doing absolutely lovely, and this entire session has made my day so much better. As I always like to talk to people who are into cybersecurity, and I love interacting and getting to know people more and also helping them out in whatever way I can.
Good to hear that. Ma'am, starting with a general introduction, can you give us a brief about the domain of cybersecurity?
Yeah, so cybersecurity is an evergreen domain, is how I would like to put it forward. As you know, that every day we interact with each other so much over the internet, and there is just so much data that we need to consider and we need to care about. Sometimes in everyday life, we need data so much, like would it be about ordering groceries or talking to your friends online, right? So, with so much data, you also need to secure it. That's why I feel cybersecurity is something that would never stop growing, because now we have reached this age where we cannot go without internet, and internet is all data. So with cybersecurity, you learn various techniques to mitigate security risks, identify security risks, and also contribute to this entire digital world, where you can put your best feet forward in order to learn new tips and tricks and update current security mechanisms in order to strengthen your digital data. So this has a lot of scope ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. So what triggered your interest in cybersecurity?
So personally, I come from a development background. When I was back in my school in ICSC, they taught us Java programming. And as I was coding, I realized that whatever data that I'm inputting, whatever variables that I'm playing around with, they are not secured. Because one time I tried to uh, put a statement that used to print a variable in an input box, and I simply got my variable. So that variable could have also been any sensitive information like my password. So back then I did not know what cybersecurity exactly was, and I did not know that it existed. But as soon as I start stepping a bit forward in my development phases, I realized how important security is, and how developers also do not pay that much attention to security when they're coding. Like in schools and colleges they do teach you that you need to code, but they just don't tell you how to securely code. So I feel that is also very important, and that triggered my interest in security, and I further started pursuing it.
Okay. So, what are the various aspects of cybersecurity that the general audience isn't aware about?
So I would say that just how carelessly or just how without thinking we just put data out there. Without thinking, we would click on a bunch of links and we might expose our personal credentials also. So security is just not limited to having those bank frauds. It can also happen in very unknowing terms. It can also happen by, you never know that the person you're talking to might also be your friend, or maybe they are pretending to fake a trust relationship in order to maybe get some secretive data. If you're working in an office and you are at a good position, or if you're just working as a fresher, you tend to make friends and connections outside your office or within your office, but you never know what information you might give away. right? So maybe the person is trying to get some personal credentials out of you. Maybe the person is trying to get some more inside information out of you. So cybersecurity cannot always be straightforward to your face that there is a link or I'm getting a scam call. It also has various layers. So everything begins from within you. Everything begins from as granular as talking to someone new, as talking to someone who is a stranger, or even talking to someone who is a known person. You should always be aware of what you're talking about and always be secretive of your private information, about your sensitive information. I feel that's where a lot of data breaches also happen. So, and that's what people are not that aware of, I feel, in cybersecurity.
That was a very informative answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask that what are the vulnerabilities in social media applications?
Yes. So social media, as you know, that we tend to use a lot. So a lot of times you will see fake accounts popping up. So you might also be knowing how much AI is contributing to cybersecurity, right? How much individuals have been making use of deep fake, for example, in order to impersonate someone else. So let's say that someone as trustworthy as Amitabh Bachchan, someone can deepfake Amitabh Bachchan's face into some promotion of their own product, and people will also buy it thinking that okay, it's maybe Amitabh Bachchan, right? And they also use such entities who are very popular, or they also use entities in form of brand names, logos, in order to get personal information out of people. That we'll definitely see. I've got a few things to share with everyone. So yes, I'll walk you through all of those kinds of attacks.
So, after talking about these vulnerabilities, now how can we defend ourselves from these vulnerabilities and safeguard ourselves from attacks on the social?
So, the very first thing that I would like to say is be aware of what information you put forward. So, there have been many cases. In one of the cases, I've seen that so there was a girl in California who was on Tinder and she posted her picture. And then slowly someone started talking to her, but they immediately got to know her address. They immediately got to know her phone number. They knew where she went to college. She knew who her they knew who her neighbor was. So how did that happen? So everything that you post online has some digital data which is attached to it, right? So something as simple as posting a picture can itself be a bit vulnerable. That's what we do every day on social media, because your pictures contain a lot of metadata. Like they also contain your geotags and your geolocation. So anyone can extract this information. That's what happened to her. Clearly, that picture showed her room number. That was a selfie from her own house. And with the help of GPS coordinates, that person was able to track her down to what street she lived in, to what college she went to. So, all of these things are pretty critical. I know that this is something that we like to share on social media, but we're sharing it at a cross cost of our privacy. So, we should be aware of such things. Maybe when you're clicking a picture, disable metadata. It's very easy in your phone, in your gallery, in your camera settings. You can find such things that do not attach my metadata to my images. That would help you uh, a great ton. And also, do not share your passwords with anyone else and keep your passwords strong. Keep changing your passwords within 2 to 3 months. It is beneficial for your own good, because password attacks, brute forcing, everything is becoming very common. And with growing computational resources, it's actually pretty much a piece of cake. So, and anyone who knows you on a personal level can easily decode your password, because they know what your interests are. And if your password is based off of your interests, it's even more easier to crack them. So, try to use pass phrases instead of passwords. By pass phrases, I mean use some phrase like I like walking, and maybe play around with upper and lower cases, maybe substitute numbers in between, substitute a lot of special characters in between to further increase your chances of not getting attacked. So those are some of the things that you can always be careful about. Just do not blindly post anything on social media. And also do not click on any links that may appear without making sure that they are actually coming from a trustworthy source.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, now you can proceed with your presentation.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, yes. Is the Zoom layout or something disturbing the screen, or can you see it properly?
It's okay, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, why do I like to say that we are sleepwalking through security? So, whenever people, and as rightly everyone asked me a few things about security, one thing always remains constant is that when it comes to security, the more you do is the less. Because you can never reach a position in whatever aspect of your daily routine or your software development, your project, you can never say that I am 100% secure. Although, yeah, you might be 100% secure at that particular moment, but it is going to go away with time. That's why we always tend to be uh, up to date with our software. We always want to move to newer technologies because they not only provide more functionality, but they are also more secure. Something that we thought was secure in web 1.0 drastically changed in 2.0, and now we're also heading to 3.0, where there's everything is about metaverse, virtual reality. Practically everything that we do is data, and that's why it is so relevant today. But why do I say that we are never 100% secure? Because understand that the more we look into security, the more we try to strengthen our security, the more we have to compromise on functionality and usability. Now, you tell me, how many people would actually like entering their password and doing 2FA, which in itself is sufficient, right? But we still do face password based attacks, we still do face multi-factor based attacks. So maybe we can add an extra layer. So now you have to enter your password, you also have to do the 2FA, and you also have to do something extra, like inserting a physical key, or maybe having an extra layer of biometric. But that's not really usable, right? Because it takes away the ease of access. Something that should be as accessible as accessing my email or my laptop shouldn't be that difficult, right? So that's why we can never strengthen our security and also be convenient, feel convenient at the same time. So that's why it is so relevant. And if you see in today's world, as I also discussed, that everything that we do is related to the internet. We're all connected to the internet. So, as I again said, connecting connecting with your friends over the internet or social media, sharing your pictures, ordering groceries, everything is data, right? But where does this data go? Of course it goes to the companies, right? And of course the data, whatever pictures we post online, whatever recommendations or whatever ads we receive, all of this data is not only stored with the company, but it is scattered across multiple places, right? So whatever you do throughout the day leaves a digital footprint behind, right? So you might be you might open your browser and you might be searching for something trendy. Let's say I opened my browser one day and I search for a rubber ducky, right? And just a few seconds after that, the moment I open YouTube, my all of my ads are related to rubber ducks. The moment I open my Instagram, my ad suggestions are all about rubber ducks, right? So how does this happen? This is because of the digital footprint and the data that I've left behind. So let's say that you travel to a new city, a new place. All of a sudden, Google will send you a notification that you should try this nearby restaurant. So what is exactly happening? I am moving about the city in a private way. But right now, in this era, nothing is private as such. So can we say that privacy is a myth? Because technically, whatever I'm doing is getting tracked, right? I go to a new place, I'm getting tracked. I search about something, I'm getting tracked because I'm getting all ads related to that, right? So yeah, it is in a way safe to say that privacy is a myth. So what all can I do to further help me out and to further minimize all of these risks? What I can do is it's very simple. Firstly, if you use Google a lot, we cannot really switch from Google to any other search engine easily, because Google has those algorithms that really help us out a lot. What I did for my personal account is that on Google, I just went and I closed all the personalized ads. So whenever you visit websites, you also get cookies, you get advertisement settings. Maybe just take that extra minute, take that extra step, and try to close off and switch off on show me personalized ads. It is going to save you a lot of your personal details from going into that company and eventually them using it against you. These companies also gather all of your data not just to use it for you, but they also sell this data to a lot of other companies. Now, let's say that one company faces a data breach. Now, what? So, all of your secure data is also at stake, right? So, what's the best that we can do? Please go ahead, take that extra step, close your personalized ads. It is going to help you a big deal, right? And again, be aware of whatever you post out there on social media, because everything can be tracked. Just like the example that I gave of one lady. So let's say that I have my phone, I post a picture. So how difficult is it for someone to extract any metadata out of it? Well, from pictures, it is as easy as running exif tool, which is a command which is going to extract all the information that I get from the image. For example, this one, I just extracted all the geo tags. So this is a demonstration image that I've used for this experiment. To execute this, it does not even take a minute. Trustmate was executed under 30 seconds. So this is how easy for others to track you down. So please be aware. Another data breach that happened at one MNC is that the employee had posted their own selfie with their ID card face up. So because of that, the employee email got leaked, right? The employee name got leaked, which was also the reason why the company had to face the data breach. Just imagine, for that one selfie that employee took and posted it on Instagram, the entire company had to face the data breach, right? That was immediately because the moment the attacker figured out what the email address pattern looks like, which was first name dot last name at the company domain.com, and yes, the entire company had to suffer. So be aware of that. Another question that was asked to me about uh, emerge in these e-commerce based attacks, right? Something that we Indians face, and almost 75% of cases that Indians report to the cyber crime industry or the cyber crime department up till date, is all about phishing attacks. How many times have you received an SMS that said that you have won a lottery? Right? Pretty cliche, but that happens a lot of times. Although we are pretty educated to understand that this is a recurring problem, this will keep happening. But let us actually know, are we really that perfect? Are we really in the process of understanding phishing attacks? So, to all of you participants, I would like it if you would scan this QR code and hop into this little quiz that I'm going to conduct right now, which is going to test your awareness and which is also going to give you a great deal of a perspective of how phishing attacks are. So, if everyone can, please do scan the QR code and we'll begin with the short demonstration of phishing attacks. I'll just wait for 30 seconds so that you join the QR code, and I'm going to show you a series of images, and we are going to pinpoint and we are going to point out if that particular email or that particular image that I'm showing is legitimate or it's scam. So let us look at the very first image here. How so? this is very basic for attackers to send you personalized messages. So PayPal, for example, a lot of people use PayPal. So it's very easy for an attacker to get your email address. At least if the email list consists of 10,000 people, pretty sure that at least 80% people use PayPal. If not 80, pretty sure that at least a 50% users will use PayPal, right? And they will be shown this message. Now, can anyone just in the chat, it says if it is legitimate or scam. All you have to do is type it out. If you feel it is legitimate, tell us why. And if you feel it is scam, also tell us what do you think or what makes it look like a scam message. So, three participants are typing. We'll wait around for them. But someone has said scam. So, yes, we'll see. Again, I'm showing you the image. We'll point out all the flaws in the image and we'll proceed. So two people are saying that it's a scam. Scam, blue big heading. Okay. Because it looks like an advert. Yeah, it might look like an advert, but it also is giving a sense of urgency. It's telling the user that your PayPal account is limited and you need to solve this in 24 hours. So in a way, it's asking the customer to fix something that is wrong with their account, right? Which also triggers a sense of urgency in the user that they have to do something about their account because they don't really have a lot of time, because they only have got 24 hours, right? And the company would not write this. Yeah, maybe. But do you know what the actual, all of the things that you've said, yeah, they make sense, because a company would probably have a legal notice and no company is going to, it definitely looks like a scammy message. But what a lot of people tend to overlook, what a lot of people tend to overlook the fact that check out the email address. Is it really coming from PayPal? No, but it's coming from some random email ID which is @mailbox.com, which a lot of people fail to notice. So this is how majority of phishing attacks take place. So be sure and be aware of the email ID from where you're receiving that message, right? Hopping to the next one, this is a website. This is a very classic example. This is something that happened around in 2017, and a lot of people lost their access to their credit cards and their bank accounts because of this. Over, I think, $100,000 in USD was stolen from people's account because of this one phishing page. Not this exactly, but something similar to this. So would anyone tell me what exactly is wrong in this page and what a lot of people tend to overlook again? So first, not secure, and second, wrong URL. Yes, URL. Yes, correct. Very happy with the audience. Doing great. There's written not secure. Yes. Another thing to look for is HTTPS, which also adds a layer of security. So it has an SSL protection, which is secure socket layer, which is going to encrypt whatever data exchanges that happen between the client and the server. Of course, in itself, having HTTPS is not going to help you the big deal, or not going to make your website 100% secure, but it surely helps a lot. So always look out for HTTPS. If it does not have HTTPS, it is going to show you not secure, which is just HTTP. And have a look at the URL, guys. It says PayPal, then there are two hyphens and then accounts.com. Although it looks like a very legitimate page, this is something that people tend to overlook. So hopping on to the next one, everyone guessed it correctly. So what are thoughts about this one? Really would like to know. This is something that a lot of people will receive. they might receive any attachment of some PDF or some Word document, and a lot of people will end up opening it also, thinking that someone trusted might have sent it. Yeah, okay. No, actually, false email ID. Yes, that is the correct answer. And no, it wasn't GOOG. There are actually three dots, I think, to shorten the email. But yes, no subject, no body, wrong email. Yes, everyone is very much correct and on the money when it comes to the domain. And but one thing that you also need to remember is whenever you get any email that is coming from someone who is not in your contact list, and there is a link that says click here or register here, or even PayPal, we saw how many hyperlinks were there, right? So whenever you have these links, you should always be aware it is most likely to be a scam. Any official company, if they send out a link, they're not going to send click here, they're going to send the expanded version of the link. According to some industry standards, you have to do that, right? Because when we see the link, you can see the URL and you can see what is written in the URL. Unlike this click here link, for that you will have to hover on the link, and then it will be shown in very small font size towards the bottom left of your window as to what the URL is actually redirecting to. So this is most likely a scam, because firstly the email ID, the domain says and speaks for itself, and secondly the click here URL. Whenever you also get any such URL, make sure that you hover on the URL first and look at where it is redirecting you to, because this is a very common attack. A lot of people will just click on the link and a lot of money from your account might also go. You don't have to even log in or do anything. This was a very popular attack recently in lockdown, because a lot of times all of your account data and all of your credential is already stored in your browser. A lot of times you always click on remember me on this device and leave it. So when that happens, and when you click on such links, you are already authenticated into these services. So it may be your email ID or your net banking service. It of course requires an OTP when it comes to net banking, but a lot of people will fall for such frauds. So yes, everyone in the audience, really good, pointed it out correctly. Yes, so next one, this is a promotion from Chick-fil-A. This looks like a very personalized email, and a lot of people would not even hesitate to click on the link and see what the entire discount or deal is about. So what do you think about this one? This is something that a lot of people are used to, getting promotions from websites or brands that you care about. Can't recognize. Okay. It also might be a trick question. You never know. Just showing the screen, so have a look properly. It looks very realistic, or maybe it's safe. One of my friend got a courier delivery message, and when she clicked on the link, suddenly she lost all the money from her account. Can you briefly explain this? Yeah, just like I recently said, a lot of people in lockdown also faced such a similar attack, where basically they clicked on a link. They did not do anything. All they did was click. They did not enter any password, any email ID, any phone number. So this happens where your data is already accessible to these websites, right? So as I said, that if you're logged in to some website, like maybe your bank account or maybe some e-commerce page which already has all of your data stored in its session, it becomes very easy for the attacker to just use the pre-existing data, your pre-existing credentials, and revert it to their own attack server. So this happens a lot of times. So this is also what had happened with one of my relative. This is something that we see on a daily basis, especially during lockdown. It was on its peak. So yes, that happens a lot. So
Hello, ma'am.
yes,
I have a question regarding this topic.
yeah, yeah,
That if a person becomes a victim of cyber attack, what
right.
should be his further steps and where to report this? Because
So
that person may be confused what is happening with him.
yeah, correct. So there is actually a very good initiative by our government of India. So you can do two things. Either you can go to your local police authority, but they are anyways going to revert you to this online portal, which is called cybercrime.gov.in, right? So they are going to take all the relevant information and you can file an official complaint against someone. Now you need not know that someone. All you need to give them is the basic information. So let's say there was some money laundering, there was some money that you lost from your bank account suddenly by clicking some link, for example, like one of our friends told us. So what you can do is you can go on that website. They're going to ask you all basic data like your Aadhaar card number, your PAN card number to verify you as someone who is trustworthy. And once you do that, they're going to give you an entire form that you need to fill. You can attach any of the proofs that you have, and you can give a detailed list of information of how that attack happened and how that has affected you. And they will surely proceed with the investigation. Our cybercrime department in India is pretty active. It is little sad that not a lot of people know about this, but whoever knows about this, please also tell this to others, because it is very important. So that cannot be compromised. So I will also drop the link in the chat so you can have a look. I don't think I can access it right now, but I'll surely drop it in the chat, or I will share the link with one of your organizers. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So a lot of people, how safe incognito window is. So although a lot of people said that incognito window cannot track your information, but there is actually a recent suit that is ongoing against Google. So this year, just I think in the last couple of months, it was found that Google was actually tracking all of your incognito data. So yeah, whatever you thought that was private to you was not. And currently there are proceedings going on against Google for that. I don't think a lot of people are aware of it, but do look that up. You will definitely get some heads up on that. And a lot of people have filed a complaint against Google for that as well. So yes, incognito window does not store. So let's say that I was logged in through some banking website on my incognito window. All of that data does not get stored permanently on my laptop or on my desktop or on my mobile, whatever device I'm using, right? Because incognito is not supposed to store data locally or into your storage session, anything. It is not going to store your data. The moment you close the tab of your incognito window, all of the data with the tab also gets deleted. So you cannot trace that data back. Even on incognito window, if you try to open a new tab, and if you control Z, then you cannot retrieve that old tab as you can do in your current tab, which is not incognito. So incognito is safe. Even your service provider cannot track your data down incognito, but they do have access to what you're surfing on normal web. Is Siri voice safe in phones? Actually, there has already been a lot of research in this area. So, whatever IoT devices that you have at your place, it might be Siri, it might be Google Assistant, it might be that Google Home, or it might be that Echo Dot. So, one customer had actually noted this complaint to Amazon that so in Amazon, basically, if you have Echo Dot, you can go to the settings and you can request data from Amazon, which that customer did. And in that data came along a lot of sentences that were not followed by saying Alexa, right? So it means that the entire time Alexa was eavesdropping on their conversation. Okay. So how is this data even helpful to the companies? Just understand that Alexa is always sitting out there. Alexa's detectors are always on throughout the time. They are recording your audio throughout the time because they have to sense when the user says Alexa, and it has to get activated, right? So it is active the entire time. The sensors are going to catch on to that phrase, but it does not have to be only. Yeah, so my Siri just got activated because of the number of times I took her name. So as you know, whatever I said right now, even that was recorded on my phone. So this is also some area that needs to be researched upon, and this is also a very downfall of using such IoT devices. No, these are not 100% safe, but companies do their best to not let this information out in public. Because as I said, the more you try to be secure, the more you're going to compromise on ease of access, right? Although people know that Alexa is listening to us, but what can we do? We want that ease of access. We want to say that Alexa, play some music, Alexa, surprise me. We all like that, right? So no one really can do much about it because it is already a part of our routine. But yes, it is not very safe. Ma'am, often we have seen that when we talk about a brand with our friends, we get advertisements about the same on our phone, like mostly on Instagram. So, how can we stop this? So, there's nothing a lot that you can do to stop this, because the moment you open or you register to any application, right? If you go on Instagram, the very first time you open Instagram, it is going to ask you for permissions. And although you check that ask app not to track or do not allow the app to access information when I'm not using it. So there are two options, only when I'm using or allow all the time. Even if you use only when I'm using, the app is going to have some services that are running in the background. So all of your data is going to get tracked. So there's nothing a lot that you can do about it because there are spies everywhere. If you really want to be 100% secure, as I said, it is not humanly possible. How much are you going to run away from social media? How much are you going to delete applications? That won't happen, right? So I would say it is a trade off, but you can try your best to go in your settings and check your camera permissions and your microphone permissions. If you feel like it is getting used too often, maybe try to delete some third party or shady applications. But there are some applications that you need to use, like especially Meta, like you need to use Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram. All of these applications are accessing your data, right? Because they want to function. They are a big data company. There's not really much that you can do about this, but yeah, it's a part of our life now.
Ma'am, I have a doubt here.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, if I clicked on some phishing link or my Instagram or WhatsApp get hacked and I want to report it, but at the same time, it may happen that the attackers might be continuously tracking me. So how can we report them without a concern? Like if I report them, then they will harm more or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So you know that your device is already infected. So probably let's say that your email was already on your phone and on your laptop. Now for sure you cannot use these two devices. What you can do is now go to Instagram, go to the moment you know that okay, my email is hacked. So a lot of services are connected to my email. The first thing that I can do is go to Instagram immediately while I still have some access and block my account, or I can just shut my account temporarily, or I can immediately change my password. So although the attacker has my email ID, the attacker can easily reset the password. But in the meantime, I can also do something in order to minimize the attack. Sorry. So that's the first thing that you can do. Secondly, if you know that your device is getting compromised, you need to use someone else's device. Like if my device got compromised, I will use my mom's phone or my dad's phone in order to report this, because I know that my device is infected. So there's no way that I can use it further. That's what I would recommend. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. So,
I was very curious to know that can you share about any particular cyber attacks that you found interesting, which you have gone
oh,
through?
yeah. So I am also a bug bounty hunter. So previously I have worked on contract basis as a vulnerability reporter or a bug bounty hunter for Myntra and for Agio, which is Reliance's clothing retail store. So on both of these websites, was what a very common thing that I found is account takeover or session hijacking was pretty common for attackers to target, right? So I for Myntra, I'm not sure how much I can share about this particular experience, but I can say that basically I just toggled around with their session management and I was able to access somebody else's account. So that was something that was very interesting. So I thought that maybe this is happening with just one e-commerce, but it might be happening with some other e-commerce as well. So I went to RGO and I tried to do something similar. Turns out that I did one cross-site scripting attack through which I was able to redirect the RGO server to attacker server, and through which I was able to take over an account. So that is something that happens in a lot of e-commerces. And if you find it, do report it. Such websites do have their vulnerability disclosure programs or bug bounty programs. They will surely get in touch with you and they will also pay you in return. They will compensate for whatever time that you have contributed, whatever security contributions you have made, right? So they will pay you or they will give you some token of appreciation. But understand that it is data of millions of people which is at stake. So whenever you find something, it is always the best that you can do is tell them, and they will surely make it up for that.
Okay. Ma'am, while going through your profile, we noticed that you are a penetration tester.
Yes, yes.
So, can you brief about the role of a penetration?
So, penetration tester is one of the highest demanding roles in cybersecurity, I would say. So, a role of penetration tester is to penetrate or to go inside your system and then act like an attacker and to see what all attacks an attacker can potentially perform to the system, right? So, that is their basic job. So, if I am a penetration tester for some company which is an e-commerce, for example, I will be acting like an attacker. So there are two types of pen tests. The one is internal and the one is external penetration test. For external penetration test, I only have information that an external attacker has, which who is outside of that organization. So I will do all sorts of attacks to do it ethically. So penetration tester is essentially performing all the hacking activities and all the hacking mechanisms, but in an ethical way. That's why people who are penetration testers are also called ethical hackers. They have the same skill set, but it's just that they are doing it under the consent of the company and under their observation. So that is there. And internal penetration testing means that you already have details of their infrastructure. So you are inside that organization, probably sitting in their office where their server is located on an internal level, and then you try to attack the server from inside. So those are two types of penetration testing, and that is the role of a penetration tester.
Yeah, okay. So, we often hear news about Google and Meta tracking us through various apps and
Right.
websites, which are then sold to the advertisers to provide us personalized ads. So, what are your views? Do you think it is safe, or when it comes to the right of privacy?
It always is a trade off. Like this entire discussion, if we try to sum it up, it is actually something that you cannot avoid. Now, okay, I understand that you want your data to be safe, but to what extent can you go to make yourself safe? If you want to make yourself safe, then you might as well go to the height of not having any social media application. But can you really do that? No, right? So that is some cost that we pay. But as I said, you can always shut down personalized ads. You can always go and check your settings and do not give access to apps that do not require it for that time period at least. So those are some steps that you can take. But I feel that privacy, there is no such thing as privacy in this web world. Everything that you do is out there, right? So it is a cost that we have to pay to be a part of this. That's how I would like to put it.
Yes, ma'am. You rightly said that privacy is just a myth in this web world. So, personally speaking about myself, I am interested in cybersecurity, and
Right,
from past few months, I have been pursuing courses on Coursera and other some websites.
right,
But there was this problem that I am not able to get a generalized roadmap where to and where to start.
right, right,
So, can you give us a generalized roadmap for the same, like how we should start in cybersecurity and where to pursue it?
right. So in cybersecurity, essentially there are two teams. There is a red team and there is a blue team. Red team is called as the offensive team, or something who is going to sit and make attacks continuously. Like a penetration tester is known to be in the red team because they are going to attack. The blue team is the defensive team, which is going to defend. So they majorly look at policies, they majorly look at what to do when some attack is going on. So taking care things from a very defensive point of view. But whether you go to red teaming or blue teaming, for red teaming you definitely need to know all the some mechanisms and some principles that I'm just going to tell you. But for blue teaming also, although you are interested in blue teaming, understand that you are going to manage the red team at some level. So you should understand what the red team is doing. You should also be very firm with what attacks do happen in cybersecurity and how to it's not necessary for a blue teamer to know how to perform an attack step by step, but they should know how the attack executes and how it takes place. So for that, I would really recommend starting from web application security. So I myself am a mentor to a lot of people who want to pursue cybersecurity. So if you are one of them, I'll just 1 second. I will just share this QR code. This is my link tree. If at any point you want assistance from me, you can just book a Calendly session with me for I think 30 minutes. I will surely help you out, or you can drop me a LinkedIn message. So I will help you personally. But now, for from a very generalized perspective, I would like to say that firstly, a lot of people like to start with web application security because web is basically accessible from every device. All you need is connection to the internet. And it is also very easy for people to understand web who use web every day. So with web application security, you can start by learning something called as OWASP Top 10, OWASP, which is the Open Web Application Security Project Top 10. So after fixed intervals of or fixed or varying, whatever, I think it's varying interval of years or some spans of time, OWASP releases top 10 vulnerabilities, which are very important for web application. So it is going to rank 1 to 10 vulnerabilities that have most occurred in that particular span of years. And majority of them are access control. There is SQL injection, right? So you need to learn these vulnerabilities, learn about them theoretically at first, but theory is not taking you anywhere in cybersecurity. So for that, I would really recommend portswiggeracademy.com. There you can, once you know theoretically about these OWASP top 10, you can go to Portswigger Academy, or you can go to tryhackme.com. These websites have blogs and they also have labs where you can put all of the things that you have learned into practice. So these labs are going to be purposely vulnerable applications which are purposely made so that you exploit them, which purposely have vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are weaknesses in a system which have integrated those loopholes so that you can come and attack them. So with knowing this properly and with also putting this into the practice, you can definitely learn security. So this is my guide to getting started. Do the OWASP top 10, practice them on TryHackMe or on Portswagger, and then you will slowly get direction on your own self. So there are other domains under cybersecurity too. There is reverse engineering, in which I specialize in. There is digital forensics. There is cryptography. And there is mobile security. There is malware analysis. There is so much more. But these are the basics. For cybersecurity, you should also understand that you need a mindset, a mindset of achieving something and not getting tired of it, not getting tired of trying. Because for cybersecurity, at first you may start, but it will take time for results to show. It is not like development, it is not like coding, it is not like any other activity that you learn, you execute, and you instantly get results. With cybersec, you may get results in a week, in a day, or sometimes in a year, but you have to keep trying. When I found my first bug, I did not find it in under 3 months at all. It took me 7 to 8 months to land my first bug. After that, my second bug came after another 6 months. And when you sit for a penetration testing activity, you do not succeed immediately, but it takes a while. So that is a mindset that you should have. So it will take you uh, and achieve long heights. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Good to hear that I am following the right path. Uh, so, along with the red and blue teams, do we have some other teams such as purple and orange?
Yes, there is purple team, which is essentially a mix of red team and blue team, right? So they look at more attack and defensive way. But this was just a general idea that I gave so as to not throw everyone with a lot of information. Purple teaming is something that you reach once you have enough experience in both red and blue team. That means you can both attack and you can defend, which is what I'm aiming for right now. So I'm also pursuing OSCP and I am ISO certified. So OSCP comes under your red teaming certificate, ISO comes under your blue teaming certificate. So yes, I think someone has
Thank you.
said something in the chat. Okay. I hope I answered your question correctly. Is there anything else?
I wanted to ask that are
Yeah.
there any drawbacks to biometric authentication?
Yeah, so every attack surface or every security mechanisms is bound to have some drawback, right? So nothing can be 100% secure. With biometric, understand that you cannot just only have biometric. Biometric is something that is used in combination with password as an additional measure, because biometric is something that can also be physically copied, right? Like your fingerprints aren't very difficult to be copied by anyone, right? So have you seen that covering your fingerprints with an ash and then putting a tape around it, and then just using that tape in XYZ areas wherever the sensor might be, right? So this is what we see in some detective movies, but it is actually very quite easy, I would say, to attack a biometric system. Again, it depends on the efficiency of the system. It depends if you're looking at the fingerprint or your retina, right? Or maybe a face scan. So these things have advanced, but understand that biometric is never used primarily. It is always used with combination with something. If you use biometric on your phone, which is fingerprint or your face scan, it also asks you to compulsorily add a password, because these are things that may or may not be masked, because after all it's a machine. Every biometric has some error rate, right? So it's not that reliable, I would say. That's why it is always used with combination of password, is what I've seen commonly. So yes, that was it about biometric.
Ma'am, I got a question in the chat. So, how we can minimize our digital footprints?
So, okay, digital footprints again. I said that whenever you go to websites, they always ask you if they always ask you to accept cookies, right? So there is always an option. People always click on accept cookies and leave it. But understand that when you click on accept all cookies, they might get some of your browsing information also. They might get your keystrokes also. They might follow your cursor throughout, your pointer throughout the page, and see on what links are you hovering for a long time. So maybe a lot of people do not want that, because then your ads will be personalized in that way. So when you get the cookies option, go to more options, and there are optional cookies. So get rid of those optional cookies. That will help you a big deal in minimizing your digital footprints. Apart from other things that I mentioned about removing geotags and metadata from your pictures that you post online, and apart from shutting down your location services when you're going to other places, it need not be on the entire time. And ask app not to use your location the entire time, or phone, sorry, microphone and camera. That would help a big deal. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, good to know.
There's a one last question which I was
Yeah,
curious.
sure, sure.
What is the last piece of advice that you would like to leave for the audience with?
So the last piece of advice is that understand attacks are bound to happen, right? If there is some software upgrade that we get right now, it is going to be vulnerable in a couple of months, or in a couple of weeks, or maybe in a couple of hours. That we cannot really help. But what we can help is being mindful of what information we are putting out there, being mindful of how we use our data, and also being aware of who we are talking to, and also being aware if I'm entering my password, there should not be any strangers around who will easily look at my credentials. So I think security definitely goes a long way, but it all starts from small things that we do throughout the day that make us more secure more than anything. So that should be really taken care of. That was
Ma'am,
my.
I have a doubt about the AI.
Yes, go ahead.
About AI, that how far cybersecurity has changed since the introduction of AI, and is it a concern or a tool for the cybersecurity?
Yeah, so AI, actually, it's good that you asked that question. We've come a long way with the development of AI, or development of AI, right? So, as you know, that when ChatGPT also rolled out, it was straight away giving shell codes, and it was straight away giving exploit codes, so that it would help you to exploit other user system or exploit websites, vulnerabilities on websites, my bad. So, this really took some time to the developers to mitigate such things and to introduce controls in ChatGPT, right? So AI is capable of knowing such security attacks and also helping you through it. So they have definitely done some good work, and they have put some effort in order to have those boundaries set, right? So I would say that definitely it's a 50-50. They've also made it a bit difficult. But one thing to note is that because of AI, with the integration of machine learning models, with training your machine with new cyber attacks, there is a term that was coined recently called detection engineering. So detection engineering basically revolves around the fact that we use machine learning, right, which is an AI integration, and we use cybersecurity, both of these things, and we detect attacks on the basis of their patterns and behavior that take place throughout your organization's environment. So right now we have 5 to 6 cybersecurity teams, separate teams working on separate things. Like there will be one threat detection team which will look out for threats and patterns, and they will analyze all the logs, right? There is a penetration testing team who is continuously looking for vulnerabilities on your website or on your application or on your system, right? And all of these teams will be working on same objective but on different levels. But coming all the teams coming together takes a while, because only when a penetration tester would detect an attack, they will tell the patch and management team, then they will tell the threat hunting team, or the threat hunting team will hunt for an attack, and then they will tell the rest of the teams. So it is a gap. What detection engineering does is that there are certain endpoints on your organization's infrastructure. For example, so detection engineering will place their machine learning models on those endpoints, and they will continuously scan for security attacks whichever may occur, right? And once they find a pattern of one security attack, let's say there was some denial of service attack, which is essentially flooding your system with thousands of requests to the point that your system can no longer function. So this attack can be easily detected by our detection engineering model, right? And all the teams can now be alerted, and they can work all together all at once towards the same objective at the same time. So that is how AI and cybersec come together, and they can also make such marvelous things happen.
Yeah. So I personally learned a lot from this session. It was very
Oh, yes.
informative, especially about the various aspects of cybersecurity.
Right, right.
We are indeed very grateful to have this interaction with you. We got a very clear idea on the concept of cybersecurity. So, on
Right.
the behalf of our entire Saturday 10 a.m. team and student community, I would like to thank Ms. Shravani Bhoir for sparing her valuable time and interacting with the students.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ria. That was very sweet of you. And I definitely enjoyed the audience interaction, and I enjoyed networking and connecting with everyone today. Yes.
Yes, ma'am, and definitely for me being personally interested in cybersecurity, it was really an informative session. Also, we would like to extend our gratitude to our director, Dr. R.S. Gaud, and the deans of METP Shirpur, our faculty mentors, Dr. Payal Dande and Professor Harshal Kotwal, and Dr. K.V. Patil for their constant support and guidance. Lastly, we would like to thank all the wonderful audience for joining us today and making this a successful session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for this wonderful, warm session. Thank you.
We would request everyone to kindly switch on their cameras.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was wonderful interacting with everyone, and it was also wonderful knowing that so many people are interested in cybersec. And I'm happy if I helped anyone in any way and form.
So we would like to be in touch with you, Shravani, and
Yes,
I would request the volunteers to kindly take the screenshot.
yes. I also look forward to meeting with everyone further, and I'm also looking for more opportunities to connect.
Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Shall I end this meeting now, ma'am? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Same to you, same to everyone.
Yes.